going down to maximum of 9 hearts. There's only one full heart container in the game. And we are going to get started. So let's see what's first in Link's house. We have a red rupee. Now, one thing that you find here, we've got a red crystal in Swamp Palace, and we've got a red crystal in Palace of Darkness. So if we want access to that Pyramid Fairy, those are where we're going to have to do. This is an all-dungeon seed, so we're going to have to go everywhere regardless, but that's what we are looking for if we need to go there.
Yeah, it looks like Andy's going for this early tree pull. So what he wants to find is what he just found. Potentially, he wants to find rupees. He wants to find bombs to look for the hype cave. The rupees allow him to go over play the archery game, which he can then get more rupees from. So he can do the dig game and buy bombs if he wants. But I've seen Andy do this a lot. He goes for the tree pull, and if he doesn't get bombs, it seems like he doesn't go straight to hype cave. He might go to Skullwoods. BigDunka is going like kind of the more, I would say, more common inverted route. There really isn't an established inverted route still, but I see this a lot. You go Skullwoods first, where you can farm some magic and bombs.
Yep, that is correct. But with those 24 rupees, Andy can go and get even more rupees from the arrow mini game. If you know what you're doing, you can rack up some quick cash that way, which will allow you into both the digging game and also the chess game in Village of Outcasts. All right, looks like BigDunka has gotten what he needs from that first dip into Skullwoods. Let's see how much farther he continues in it. Now, I believe, let's see, this is coming off of the bracket stage. This is a best of 3. So I believe, as you mentioned, Andy is the top seed. He was 13-2, if I'm remembering correctly off the top of my head, and BigDunka is still a quite respectable 10-5. So these will be a close match regardless.
Yeah, BigDunka taking 3 losses to the top seed in his group, as well as a couple of other one-off losses to other members in the group. But the top seed in that group, Thonlane, is no slouch, having just won the German randomizer tournament. So that's kind of to be expected almost. But yeah, definitely no slouch here. So should be a pretty competitive best of 3.
Meanwhile, Andy's found the hammer inside of the digging game. So that's our one of our first major weapons This is randomized swords. We are limited to Master Sword toss, but there's still 4 swords in the pool. All the remainder swords will be turned into 20 rupees. But the hammer, now that we're limited to Master Sword, is the only way to do tempered sword damage pretty easily.
Yeah, and kind of like great to find. Maybe even better than finding a sword is to find the hammer this early on in experts. But it does open up the possibility of maybe like a hammer blind. And Thieves Town, now that it is completely doable, is a great next step. So if you're comfortable with hammer blind, then you might just beeline it straight there and hope to finish off blind.
All right, looks like we got BigDunka checking out Kakariko, or Dark Kakariko in this case, finds a piece of heart. Now, almost all of the heart pieces that we're going to be getting, or heart containers, I should say, will be through pieces of heart. So that's something you don't want to skip, given that we are set to a maximum of 9 hearts. All right, looks like Andy found what he found, that there's nothing extra inside of the Skullwoods, and BigDunka is heading into Thieves Town. Yes. So we'll see what these 4 chests here have, and if we want to continue onward and possibly towards blind.
So you got to think that like progression, there's got to be some kind of progression here in Thieves Town. We do find
yeah,
ether.
We would think so, but we haven't found it yet. Oh, I'm sorry, continue.
Oh, sorry, I just was calling out that we had found ether in the first chest. Didn't catch was in the second chest. Oh, it looks like there's just... So that could be progressive. I mean, like, not immediately progressive, I guess, because you could open up Turtle Rock, for example, if you had Death Mountain access, but you're not going to get very far. So I'm thinking there's got to be.
Yeah, you need that Kena Samari to do a lot in it there. Although with all the new back doors that Inverted Mode has added, you can get into even Laser Bridge pretty early on.
Yeah, I'm thinking there's got to be some kind of progressive item in Thieves Town. Only finding 3 dungeon items in the front, but BigDunka looks like he's taking a death warp out of there. So there are 3 more items from the item pool deeper in the dungeon, but I think BigDunka's maybe not ready for that yet. Maybe because he didn't check. He didn't check the dig game, so I think maybe he's hoping for other progression or like a heart container or something.
Well, he's going to be happy to find that hammer at the dig game, but we need some more money to do it. So here we are at the arrow game to grind up some rupees. The prize, as you can see, increases with every consecutive shot, so this will net you an easy amount of cash to get started with. So Andy's finished this initial clear of Skullwoods there. BigDunka took a small trip into Skullwoods, but hasn't gone further in it. So this may give Andy a little bit time to catch up after he finishes his Village of Outcasts clear. And of course, neither of the runners have gotten to check Hype Cave yet with a lack of early bombs, so that will be on their mind as well. But let's see what else is if Andy decides to go for what else is inside of the Thieves Town. But first, do the chess game.
Yeah, I totally forgot about Hype Cave. So 3 in the back of Thieves. We got the 5 in Hype Cave. And we have Pyramid Ledge and maybe a few in Pod that we can currently access.
And now we have Andy's got his first sword from the chest game inside of a Village of Outcasts here. So now we have a hammer and the fighter sword. So Andy now has his pointed stick. We'll see if he knows how to defend himself from fresh fruit. As he is in getting the first 2 chests inside of Thieves Town. Onward to the other 2, and maybe we'll get to see the rest of what those items were inside of Thieves Town. Meanwhile, looks like BigDunka is taking those bombs he's finally collected and is heading over to Hype Cave, gonna find what those 5 items are. There's not nearly as many items inside of the Dark World early on than your standard vanilla clear. So this is a great pool to find early on. And we've got the Moon Pearl from the Fox. We also have the Silver Arrows and the Cane of Burna. Now the Cane of Burna will still damage in hard and expert mode, but will not give you invincibility outside of Spike Cave.
Yeah, so Silver Arrows looks like Cane of Burna and Moon Pearl. I would give that like maybe a 7 out of 10. Looks like
that's not a bad, 6, 7, somewhere in there. The Moon Pearls is your immediate progression, and the Silver Arrows will make life a whole lot easier at the end. Sadly, the Silver Arrows still do not work outside of Ganon's room, but they're something you don't want to have to do silverless strats if you can avoid it.
Yeah, it takes a lot longer. You'd have to do 24 silverless spins on phase 4. It can take minutes longer.
Alright, we got a relatively useful hint that I believe it said that armor is on a boss. Now that we're stuck at green mail for the entire run, because expert mode, that's not all that useful, unfortunately. Yep, that's right. There, all the armor gets turned into 20 rupees, but unfortunately, the game hint system is not aware of that fact just yet. Ooh, but we've got the gloves inside the attic of Thieves Town here. So that gives us the hammer and the gloves and the moon pearl once Andy decides to go to Hype Cave. So that is all of our Light World entry for right now. So we'll be able to get to that treasure trove of early Light World clear once we get there. But BigDunka is not opting to go for the Thieves Town play there. He's going for the Palace of Darkness play. There's not going to find much in here if he's looking for that glove.
So yeah, this blind fight coming up for Andy, I would have been more excited about if it was going to be a hammer blind fight, to be honest, because then it would have been a lot more difficult and impressive. Still has to be careful. Bet you he's going to pick up a heart here in the cell. He did pick up a heart in the cell. Still has to be a bit careful. Oh, he's got 4 hearts now, but there's he can just follow the blind script.
Yep, he can follow the blind script there. He can actually check the big chest now there, although it only has 10 arrows, so not what we were hoping to see. But yeah, with that sword in hand, and blind only requiring 9 hits of any type, doesn't matter what kind of sword or damage you're dealing, then it should be pretty easy.
Yeah, it only becomes difficult if you get off script for some reason, but I don't think I'm not anticipating that to happen.
Strange things have happened there, and if Andy were to somehow take a death, which can be easily done if you aren't careful, then blind will not have that set position at the beginning, and you have to fight him off from the start. But we are doing well. We are already in phase 3, and down blind goes. That's our first boss kill of the game. First blood goes over to Andy.
Yeah, it looks like he did get off script there, actually. So I guess I'll have to eat my words that he wasn't going to get off script. I couldn't see whether or not that might have been intentional, just to show off. But I wouldn't be surprised.
Yep,
I mean,
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, when he did the archery game, you might have noticed that he didn't do the easy strat, where you go right up to the NPC and then shoot north. Super easy, consistent strat. Andy maybe likes to show off a little bit. So that could have been why he got off script.
Maybe. BigDunka finds a hid that some caches in Mimic Cave, so we know that doesn't have anything important for us once we finally do go to Turtle Rock, so something to keep in mind. But here, Andy's going to get his Moon Pearl. He will have full Light World access now. Let's see what else other goodies the sea decides to give us once we get over there. All right. Meanwhile, BigDunka is in Palace of Darkness. Haven't found anything of importance just yet, but making some good progress into the back of it. No lamp to do the dark rooms, but for runners who have made it through both the qualifiers and the group stage, I doubt dark rooms will give them any trouble whatsoever.
Yeah, 3 hearts though. I mean, with the dark maze, that can be challenging. I mean, the basement here is the easier part, and you could use Cane and Burna maybe to kill the Kadongos in the room, but it's not going to give you invincibility. It looks like BigDunka did save and
decided that that's all that he wanted to do in Palace of Darkness for right now there, so hopefully he'll make that Thieves Town play and go to the back and get his gloves and get into the Light World. Nothing inside the first chest for Andy, so let's see what's sitting at the bottom of the lake. And to answer a question in chat, yes, brackets are up. This is for game 1 of the bracket stage between Andy and BigDunka. All right, and Andy is electing to go for the South Shore clear first, skipping next screen. This is Mini Moldorm Cave. Then go over to Ice Cave and find out what's in there as well. So this is another big trove.
Oh, sorry, I cut you off. I was just going to say, BigDunka finally getting their sword at chess game. I wonder if he would have done the Dark Maze if he had had a sword to help him see him. might be kicking himself for missing that. But he didn't have the money at the time, I think.
Now, this is true, but Andy will have no problem seeing there as he has picked up the lantern inside of the mini Moldorm cave there. So he is now illuminated to where that item is.
Yeah, I mean, even if BigDunka had a sword, like, it can be really smart to decide, you know what, I might be able to do the Dark Maze, but I could also waste a ton of time, maybe die. It can be really smart to be like, I'll just come back when I have more health or, you know, a lamp or something.
And especially the bow, because you can't even finish the Palace of Darkness without the bow.
Yeah.
So Andy's checking out Ice Rod Cave there. It's a good place to check out while you can in your initial clears, because if you orphan this chest and leave it for later, Andy will find the Master Sword inside of the Ice Rod Cave. So that's a great pickup for him.
Yeah, so there were still 4 swords in the item pool, but you can only grab 2 of them, and the other ones turn into rupees. So it seems a little crazy that they found both swords already, but you have to remember that it was more probable that they're going to find more swords.
Yeah, we're not going to have Master Sword Go mode for right now, but BigDunka has picked up the glove, so he can now go to the Light World as well and join Andy. And go sunbathe in that glorious Light World light. Alright, so we've got the gloves and we've got the hammer. No other like major progression items other than just this the Master Sword. So the game is not really pushing us towards any specific dungeon as of yet. So after if we finish this overworld clear with no further progression, where would you want to head next?
Oh God, I don't know. There's no like clear dungeon to go to. I mean, I think Andy might be pressed to go to Pod now that he has both the lamp and the hammer. Although I don't know if BigDunka is going to wait, as you said, to find the bow. The issue could be the bow, for all we know, could be in the Dark Maze. But I think Pod is a pretty possible next step.
Ideally, we would like to find the mirror so we could route in on the Eastern Palace and then mirror back to Palace of Darkness afterwards. But it looks like Andy's deciding to go for the escape sequence right now.
Yeah, this can be really hard to route in inverted mode, unlike in normal mode, where you just go north from your save and quit spot. It's really hard to route the Light World, and escape in particular can be something that gets isolated really easy. So it's nice to see Andy going here early. And gets the mirror for his trouble.
Oh, that's going to make things so much easier there. That allows you to route in Desert Palace with Misery Mire and Eastern Palace with Palace of Darkness if you can if the logic will allow it.
Yeah, Andy getting some really fortunate benefits from his routing here, which I would say this early on, it's hard to say like if anybody has a lead. But yeah, I would say those are pretty significant because who knows how long it'll take BigDunka to get to escape and grab that mirror.
Yeah, it's a bit out of the way, so you don't know when he's going to be able to find it there. That is half of the access to Swamp Palace and all of the access to Tower of Hair, if I'm not mistaken.
I think we don't quite yet have Tower of Hair access yet. Verdant is a little bit funny. They would need a way to get to Eastern Light World Death Mountain, which they don't currently have yet. If I'm
yes, you are correct.
They would need a mitt or a hookshot.
Yep, you are correct there. That's the way we would need to do things. So no Tower of Hair just yet there, but we still have a lot of the Light World to check. We've got looks like BigDunka is going straight towards the Lost Woods, whereas Andy's still finishing up his escape sequence. Then all of Kakarika to check, and all those 10 plus items right there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I've seen a couple people route, what BigDunka is doing is their first access into the Light World, where they'll go Lost Woods, and then after Lost Woods, they'll either go back end of escape kind of area, where Andy will, maybe exit out of, no, he's mirroring out of the dungeon, or they'll go right back to CAC. So it'll be interesting to see what he does. Finds the vanilla
A vanilla mushroom indeed there. Now, does that mushroom taste like vanilla? There's the big question. Now, one other thing to add about inverted mode is that Castle Tower is now Ganon's Tower and has the crystal requirement to enter it. And likewise, what is normally Ganon's Tower in the original game is now the Castle Tower. So, Aga 1 and Aga 2 have had something of a house swap, so to speak. And also another change to inverted mode is that a lot of these mirror locations that you would normally find have to mirror over from the Dark World to get to the light have now had easy access given to it, because the way that the mirror now functions is not exactly the way that you think anymore. All right, looks like Andy's now checking out the back of Escape, having finished out the front, taking the easy back door into there. Then we've got 3 more chests we can check out in here. We have some bombs, we have another piece of heart, that's good to find, and another rupee. So nothing progression-wise in here. Meanwhile, BigDunka is checking out the graveyard ledge, just as Andy has just a moment or two ago. Ooh, and BigDunka finds his Master Sword inside of the graveyard ledge. Andy had already gotten his, so he just found it as 20 rupees. Alright, so I don't think either runner has gotten around to Light Kakariko just yet, so we've got a lot of items to find out. Andy's going to be riding in the Lost Woods along with that, so we can exit Lost Woods right above the well and check that along with Blind's Hut, or what used to be Blind's Hut. Now it's just the Robe of Blind's Hut. All right, and BigDunka just finishes his escape sequence as well. Well, the back of Escape. I don't believe he checked the front of Escape just yet. So we'll see which direction he decides to go now. But we should be seeing the Light Kakariko pretty soon, and we'll have a better idea of where we want to go from there. Eastern Palace is always an option, but we don't have any arrows to finish off those Igors, but you can still clear a good majority of it from here. But BigDunka is heading right towards Blind's hideout. So we're going to see what's in these 5 chests here. Alright, and the Blind's hideout just is a whole lot of rupees. 160 rupees plus this chest here, which is another 165. Semi-vanilla, I believe, there's a good amount of red rupees inside the hideout in vanilla, but maybe not those exact amounts, but close enough, right?
Yeah, pretty dang close. Gonna waste some money here on the bottle merchant, probably, but maybe he'll get some back as well.
Oh, we find the Book of Mandor inside of the well. Now that's important because with inverted mode, the Desert Palace no longer has a back door to it just because of how the mirror works. And we find the cape as well. So whereas the magic usage on cape and Rada Kanaburna are tripled, they still have their uses. Oh, but yes, there's no longer any backdoor into Desert Palace. You need the Book of Mandor to get in there, but there are now 3 backdoors into Turtle Rock, So that is well worth the trade, if you ask me.
Yeah, with this book pickup in Kakariko, I think Meyer Desert is looking slightly more attractive. There's a lot of overworld locations in that area as well. But it'll be interesting to see where they go because, like you said, the pod Eastern play is really good, particularly for Andy, who hasn't been to pod at all. And just a piece of heart for that bottle that BigDunka sequence broke, which we know is in logic because the lamp is available. He just hasn't got it yet.
We still have Death Mountain to check out there. We have the mirror, so we can just jump back to there and get what's on that area for right now, but not sure if 100% worth it. All right, today's Boots Locked Library item is the boomerang. You can throw that right away, but it's going to come right back to you if you try.
Yeah, with expert mode, hard mode, boomerang already doesn't stun. Expert mode, hookshot also doesn't. So there are a couple of other weird ways you can stun enemies, but probably not going to see a stun drop this run, I'm guessing.
Yep, that is a change from hard to expert mode. Yeah, like you said, there's a few weird random ways you can stun things, but it's generally not worth your while if you're actively trying to farm up stun prizes. All right, Andy is routing and has the mirror, whereas BigDunka does not. So he's able to route in the Smith's chain here right now. Because of the whole inverted nonsense going on, we can actually skip those Titan Smith's rocks and just warp over to the Smiths and go right back in. So Titan Smiths are not required for most seeds. The only thing that they're really required for is the King's Tomb, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's the only location that they will that absolutely requires the mitts in all scenarios. In this situation, mitts could still be required for East Death Mountain access, but we could also get that access via the hookshot.
Yeah, poor Titan Smiths, demoted to just being another fetch quest.
Yeah, and this early mirror get from Andy already paying off in terms of overworld efficiency.
Pretty much, and allows him to pick up the fake powder as well. Or not the fake powder, the real powder. There's nothing fake about this powder, I'll tell you.
The fake powder.
I can't believe it's not powder.
So, it's possible that this chain could lead nowhere. We're going to find out very, very soon. And in that case, maybe Andy's spent some time that BigDunka won't have to spend. But because it is all dungeons, we're going to look at probably a close to 100% clear, particularly when it comes to overworld locations. So my guess is BigDunka is going to come back to these locations at some point and just lose a little bit of routing efficiency from not having the mirror. But yeah, he's going for that Desert Mire area play.
Ooh, and BigDunka finds the shovel, another fetch quest item. Interesting indeed. Schrodinger's progression. There could be something there. There could not. We don't know. And here's another one of those former mirror locations. Checkerboard Cave has now been lowered to be Checkerboard Plain, and it's just a plain blue rupee inside there. So onward we go.
Yeah, kind of interesting. BigDunka, is here in Desert. He's going to have to finish Desert eventually, but he didn't pick up his lamp yet in Mini Moldworm Cave. So he's going to have to double dip without a fire source unless he gets fire.
Yeah, he could get lucky there, but yeah, there's nothing. You can't get to the back of this dungeon without being able to light those torches.
Oh, and I'm just realizing that, yeah, BigDunka still doesn't have his mirror. So here's another scenario in which he might be losing a little bit of routing efficiency from having to come back to this area for Meyer as well. Although very unlikely that Andy would be able to full clear Meyer at this point. He'd have to find a cane, get the correct medallion. He just had to get extraordinarily lucky to not double dip this area.
Yeah, and even so, you can't really even get into it without the hookshot or the boots just as of yet. But Andy finds the flute inside the purple chest, gets the purple flute from the purple chest. So it is purple all day today.
Yeah, so in this particular seed, looks like Flute is not actually required for progression, but if he does go back to attack, he might decide to activate it just to get a little bit of speedy.
Yeah, it definitely is worth your time just for the sheer efficiency of being able to flute from one area to the other and not having to walk. So it looks like the mirror or the flute was locked behind the mirror because you have to have, well, you could do it the old way with the Titan's mitts, but we haven't found those yet. But so right now, if flute is considered to be required, which it really isn't, but if you want the flute, you're gonna have to have the mirror, and if you want to have the mirror, you're gonna have to go to the front of escape, which BigDunka has not just yet, and it's a bit out of the way, so we don't know if he ever will. Hopefully, we will.
Yeah, this would be a time, actually, if he was going to route it in, I might expect him to do it right now, considering where he is. Or he might decide to go off and do a dungeon, which is not a bad call either. Oh, right, he hasn't done many Moldorm Cave. Yeah, never mind. That makes a lot more sense. So he's going to get his lamp. That's good.
The light of progression will shine upon him, and he will see the way on the way and say, "Lo, I should go over to whatever the next dungeon I want to go to is."
So Andy just going to get the same thing as BigDunka, despite having a lamp. I'm pretty sure this dungeon was boots locked, so that's good for Dunka in terms of not losing time on routing efficiency here. But yeah, they've picked up a couple of red goos already, or red potions, and just in case you're new to Expert, which I'm guessing many people are, because this is not a mode that we have seen very much on speed gaming. Red potions will only heal a single heart in Expert mode, so they're not like hugely powerful and important. They could be helpful.
Yeah, red potions have pretty much been nerfed to uselessness in this mode, but hey, every heart counts, so you never know when it could come in useful.
So Andy's seeing that hint there. I don't recall seeing the hint on BigDunka if he checked the hint in Desert Palace or not, but that was the big chest hint in Swamp, which can be really significant. Just saying that there's trash there.
Yeah, that will save you a lot of the time there if you just if you want to check that. Well, was it the big chest hint or was it the firelock section hint?
It was the big chest hint of Swamp Palace.
Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, we won't have to go to that area. That will cut out a little bit of the map.
Yeah, it can be really significant, particularly if you get the left side hint and it says it has a big key over there, because then you're like, well, that doesn't tell me anything unless I have the big. Or if you get a big key later on in Swamp House in the dungeon and have to think about backtracking to the big chest. It could save like a minute or more sometimes.
Pretty much. Mire is a big area with lots of places to go to, and everything just is a lot spread out.
Oh, no, sorry, we're talking about Swamp Palace.
Oh, Swamp Palace. Okay, that makes a lot more sense to me there. Yeah, if you can't get the big chest in Swamp Palace on your first go-around, then having to come back to it is just a pain in the butt.
Yeah, Misery Mire, actually, the overworld area is called, I believe it's called the Swamp of Evil, but also has a different dungeon in a completely different area called Swamp Palace. So thanks, Reggie.
Yep, we have our kind of swampy Swamp Palace. We've got our Misery Mire, and a lot of other places that we could possibly consider wet and rainy as well.
And he is activating the flute, just probably for movement, like efficiency, getting to places quicker, but he hasn't been up to Death Mountain yet at all, so it could save him a bit of time to flute up and then grab the old man from that direction, or just avoid the old man altogether, because it takes a while to return the old man in inverted.
It does there, but it does unlock that respawn point from the light world, so it's not the worst case scenario in the world. Looks like BigDunka is fake flippering his way over to the hobo right now. This would be out of logic because we do not have those flippers just yet, but you never know. What does the Vagabond have today?
Just 5 rupees, looks like. His last few pennies.
Hey, you seem to be a wandering adventurer. Have 5 bucks. I'm not going to need it. I'm just going to sit here under the bridge.
Yeah, it looked like a second ago that Andy kind of intentionally activated that green guard to come and attack. And I've only ever seen that before if you're trying to set up a Super Bunny inside that house or another house. I have no idea, but it might have been accidental, or he might have just wanted to see the text box.
Could be there. And we get see on BigDunka's screen that the Quake medallion is on the island in the Lake Hylia Island. So we don't know if that's required yet or not, but it's a good thing to know about in either case. Alright, one note about inverted mode, as we had mentioned, is that you can't really return the old man to his cave in the Dark World. It doesn't exist. So you have to go all the way up to Death Mountain, warp back to the Light World using the warp tile, and then just go cliff diving with the old man, because he loves that kind of thing, until you get back down to the bottom. And then he can give you whatever it is that he has.
So BigDunka getting a blue bottle at the Waterfall Ferry, checking locations we haven't seen yet. He picked up a piece of heart that actually refilled his hearts in that second chest, which put him back into a swimming animation in the middle of the cave, which is always funny to see. So he had to exit and re-enter again to activate a Moon Pro glitch, which allows him to walk inside here and walk on water.
Speaking of Zora, he's got 500 rupees, and we can see what Mafia Boss Fish has got for us today. Hey, weird squid thing, I'm gonna make you an offer you can't refuse. Have this cane of Samaria. It's gonna come in real useful, I'm telling you.
I mean, it is actually required for the seed. That's pretty good. And it is a location that's kind of out of the way, but with the item density there, Waterfall Ferry and stuff and friends. But here's another overworld routing efficiency moment BigDunka lost, and this one's a little more significant. Is the loss of the ability to mirror over and check catfish while he was over in that area.
Ooh, it's gonna be a while before he can check that again, but we don't, maybe he'll be something, maybe it won't. Well, he'll have to hope that it doesn't really have anything that he would really want.
So saw an interesting hint on Andy's side there. Quake is in plain sight, which there's only a few locations left. Or I'm sorry, did you call it Quake?
I believe it's on Lake Hylia at the moment.
Oh, well, there you go.
Oh, and BigDunka is heading over towards the escape, in front of escape. He's going to be getting his mare fairly shortly.
Yeah, that's good. You know, stop hemorrhaging time to losing overworld routing. So yeah, BigDunka has actually seen the Quake on Hylia Island, and Andy has gotten a hint, which very shortly he might be able to deduce is for Hylia Island. Oh no! Misses that bomb jump, or that bomb deboost through the line.
Yeah, it's interesting when your best case survival is to try and blow yourself up rather than being torn to shreds from a Lionel.
Yeah, there's a couple ways you can deboost through those Lionels. And Andy going for the, I would say, the more technically challenging strategy of deboost. It uses less health in the end, and it is slightly faster, but it's much easier to deboost off of the fireballs from the Lionels.
Yeah, it's a pretty good thing to do here, but we actually having our Meyer Shed check here. We've got 20 rupees and the hook shot. So that's a big find right there.
Yeah, that opens up all of Eastside Lightworld Death Mountain. There's tons of items up there.
We've got Paradox Cave we can check out there. We can now check out the Hookshot Cave. Super Bunny Cave, I believe, is now in Logic as well.
Super Bunny Cave and yeah, Super Bunny Cave was in Logic. The Logic doesn't care that you have to deboost through Lionels. They're like, whatever. If you take 2 hearts of damage getting through. But yeah, Hookshot Cave has been added in all of East Lightworld, Tower of Hair. And with that mirror, he can also get inside of Turtle Rock. Doesn't have BigDunka's advantage of the cane.
That's right. He can't check that first section or get back to Trinex. Or no, you could get through to Trinex from Laser Bridge, but you don't have any rods to fight him with just yet.
Oh god, wow, okay, nice. I thought he might have messed up that deboost, but it looks like he was good.
Yeah, those Lionels would always prefer to shoot you from a distance, and Andy would prefer that he found that Quake medallion. So now we have all three medallions in our knowledge, though. Although Andy hasn't seen the one that's on Lake Hylia just yet, but whatever the medallion requirements are, we don't particularly care for about what those are right now.
Yeah, and that Bombos medallion opens up Ice Palace as well, which he could full clear at this point.
He would have
He'd
to
have to
fake flipper to get there, but yeah, he could get in a full clear it if he feels like it.
Yeah, there's a couple ways you could get to Ice Palace. You could fake flipper, or you can do a really weird bomb jump across the water that looks hilarious.
Yeah, do your best soldier impression and rocket jump across the lake.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm just remembering have the mental image of the TF2 soldier going on a rant about how he never learned to swim. He just had to rocket jump everywhere he wanted to go.
So BigDunka going an interesting way, kind of towards the Eastern Palace, looks like, or he could be going to return that mushroom.
We did find that vanilla mushroom, and we don't know what it's for just yet. But yeah, heading down south towards the Eastern Palace zone, can do that. We still don't have that bow that we need, or those boots to finish Desert Palace. So pretty much, we're still a ways away from getting what we need to finish a lot of the dungeons. With Hookshot, and Mirror, we're most of the way to getting to Swamp Palace, but we don't have that flippers to get inside just yet. Or wait, yeah.
Yeah, flippers being the last item we'd need for that dungeon. And I missed what was in Saha's closet. Maybe I'll catch it on the restream.
I think it was just money, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, though. Ooh, but Sasha's keeping some icy rods in his... oh, wait, no, I'm wrong there. That's a Paradox Cave that's got the ice rod in it. We also got the Titan's Bits inside a Paradox Cave, a lot of money. So that's good find so far. As I mentioned earlier, the Titan's Bits aren't really required for much of anything. But it's nice to have in your back pocket, or at least on your hands, I guess I should say.
Yeah, it'd be hard to lift up rocks from your back pocket, but if anybody can do it, it would be Andy. BigDunka getting us our first look inside Eastern Palace, so let's see what we got here. Could be bow in Eastern. Big 20 to start.
And he checks out another former mirror location there. The the Lonely Island only's got $20 on it, so not interesting today. But we do going to be checking out Tower of Hera right now, and possibly the we are getting to our Ether check as well. As soon as this Deadrock will get out of the way.
Yeah, it's he's gonna screen transition to refresh the Deadrock.
Alright, so we've got dueling dungeons right now there. BigDunka is inside of Eastern Palace. Hasn't found anything of note just yet, but he has gotten that Cane of Samaria from the Big Fish. But Andy finds the flippers inside of Tower of Hera, so that will give him access to 2 major dungeons.
Yeah, that's a huge pickup, and may even bring him closer to routing an Ice Palace somewhere next. It's like, I think maybe apart from Tower of Hera, I think it's the only dungeon that they can full clear right now.
Well, let's see. We can now get into Swamp Palace now that we have the Hookshot, the Mirror, and the Flippers. Skullwood's pretty much locked as far as what we're considering there. Can't even get in. We could get into Meyer, I guess, now that we have the Hookshot, but he doesn't have the Cane of Samaria to finish off of Misery Mire. BigDunka does
you're
though,
right.
so if he finds that hook shot, he can get in there pretty quickly once he gets the Bombos medallion.
Yeah, I totally forgot about Swamp. That's also a good move. You got the 6 items in Swamp versus the 3 in Ice Palace. Although Ice Palace has hints, which might lead to getting to avoid left side Swamp, for instance.
That could be definitely worth it. The left side swamp is the thing that you just want to avoid because it just takes so long and is often just not even necessary. But do you ever want to just skip it and not know what's there? No, you don't. The time that you check it, the time that you don't check it is the one time it's got progression in it.
So it looks like we've got an item on Armos Knights. So BigDunka is finished with his Eastern clear and he's going to go back for that Dark Maze and maybe Potion Glitch right side, because I don't think he did that before. Yeah, it looks like he's going that direction.
Ooh, Andy takes an unfortunate death halfway up Hera, so he's going to have to hoof it all the way back to where he hailed from. All right, back up the tower he goes there. BigDunka is pulling off that potion glitch, which puts those mimics off screen. If he can avoid, yep, he gets them all off screen, tricks the game into thinking if they're not on screen and we can't see them, they're clearly dead, right? No,
Yeah,
not the case today.
That's some like infant level logic right there. Like if I can't see it, it doesn't exist. We should call it the baby bottle glitch.
I like that. I like that a lot. Let's do it.
If you're here, Glenn, chew on that for a little bit.
All right, so Andy's now at the top of the tower. We've got Pug versus Bug. It is Andy versus Moldorm.
The peekaboo glitch. I like that one too.
Ooh, but round 1 goes to Troll Dorm. There, down Andy goes. It's got to climb up all the way back up. And it only has 5 hearts to work with there, so every little bit help, or every fall hurts just a little bit when it comes to Moldorm. We still have those recovery hearts in the pots down below, so it's not the end of the world. But you have to go and switch back to the right color to be even able to access them. But Moldorm goes down, and on him today we have... It's the compass, that's right. We found everything else in the dungeon of note. And that is another pendant under Andy's belt. That puts him up 2 dungeons to 1.
BigDunka found in the Dark Maze. So that was just the scenario that I was hoping wouldn't happen for BigDunka's sake, but it looks like it's going to benefit him this time.
That does give him the advantage in terms of being able to clear both Eastern and Palace of Darkness, given that he's right there. That will give him a good efficiency for that clear.
Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, it might still have been a bad thing for BigDunka because, it's a very common play if you have to choose between clearing Pod or Eastern first without the bow, that runners will choose Pod first, which BigDunka did as well, but then didn't finish the Dark Maze, so it could be that BigDunka is going to lose time on his double dip of Eastern here. But yeah, having that bow early is great.
All right, so we've got we've got... now I'm putting the 2 of them together, Big Andy. No, Andy's got the flippers, and Andy has the flute, whereas BigDunka has the bow and Cane of Samaria. So this is some interesting divergence going on right here.
So you're hearing a lot of error noises there for a second because Andy was just demonstrating how difficult it is for him to read. You don't usually try to read while you walk. That's not how you use a book, Andy.
I'm just a dog. I can't read. What is this language here?
So I can't remember if we have another item left here to get on Helma. Definitely Helma's required, right? Regardless of the fact that it's crystal, it's all dungeons. But there's definitely an item on Armos. So if this leads to more progression, then that would be even better for BigDunka.
That would be excellent, but we will have to see what that is. But meanwhile, Andy is clearing out more of Light World Death Mountain. Whereas BigDunka is making the run up to the Helmosaur King, only has 2 hearts, so we'll have to be careful. That Helmosaur King neck will snap at you unexpectedly. And by neck, I mean tail. This isn't Trinex I'm talking about.
Andy mirroring into Laser Bridge. It's always interesting to see how people choose to route Eastside Death Mountain, particularly when they have the mirror to do parts of Turtle Rock. Laser Bridge makes sense as a first entrance because maybe you'll get some keys that open up other locations. But then he also has to hop down to Mimic Cave Ledge to check that location.
We had the hint earlier that Mimic Cave just has some cash in it, but Andy finds the big key inside of the Laser Bridge. Interesting find. We'll be able to do that section of Turtle Rock a little bit easier now with that in tow. But BigDunka finds a crystal on top of Helmosaur King's head, pries it out, claims it for himself. So that ties him up with 2 dungeons apiece. Alright, we've got the Mimic Cave here. Mimic Cave, as we found the hint here, just has got 5 rupees in it. Not worth it. Alright, looks like Andy's going to be checking out further into Turtle Rock with the big key. So we are going to see what else it has in store for us there on 5 hearts max, 4 hearts current there. It's be a little bit scary, but we can definitely pull it off with the resources that we have on hand.
It's interesting that he got no small keys at all on Laser Bridge. Ordinarily, you wouldn't be able to find a big key on Laser Bridge even, but it seems very common in Inverted that you get at least 1, if not several, small keys on Laser.
Looks like it. And we got a small key from the mini roller room, so we can go a little bit further into Turtle Rock. We can work our way backwards through it to get more progression through here, but we won't be able to check out the torch room until he goes and finds that Cane of Samaria on the big fish today.
Yeah, so trading a little bit of routing efficiency here in terms of which progressive items they had found in the order that they do dungeons. So it's really hard, again, to call a lead. You know, they both finished 2 dungeons. They're both in the middle of another dungeon. Andy does have more progressives and maybe has cleared more locations in total, but it's really hard to say. There's still a lot of progressive items left to find.
Boots are 100% required in this seed there. We still don't know where that fire rod is, and other than that, we know where most of everything else is for the moment.
So BigDunka getting nothing but 10 arrows on Armos Knights, but does get that green pendant.
And as soon as I say it, Andy's gotten the boots from the lava bridge in Turtle Rock.
So now a lot more of Turtle Rock is open to Andy since he will hover. May hover. There's only really 1 location, additional locations open to him right now, in the front half of Pod, but dies to the chain chomp. This is what I'm talking about. Low hearts, early Turtle Rock can be brutal.
Especially since we're limited to green mail there, those chomps will take a bite out of you and not leave much behind.
Oh, Andy saving and quitting and just ignoring the rest of that, looks like. So there's only 1 chest that was left for him there in logic, but he could have hovered to 1 more. If that chest has some kind of important progression, that could really bite, but it's unlikely to. So I think he's making the gamble to, I don't want to waste more time dying to chomps, let's just go.
Pretty much. BigDunka sees that the only full heart container in this game is on the Bumper Cave ledge. So that will be interesting to see if he decides to go for that or not, because that's a full almost 10% of your maximum health. More than 10% even.
Yeah, ordinarily you wouldn't go out of your way to get a heart container, at this level of play. But when you're playing expert mode, I mean, we've already seen several deaths from these runners who you don't normally get to see them take deaths unless they're playing some insane game mode like OHKO or something.
Pretty much. And Andy is opting to go into Swamp Palace right now. Some cash is in Ganon's Tower. Gee, with the 22 chests in there, somehow I think I would have guessed that. Thank you, game.
So chat asking what other progression there is even left to find, and yeah, I guess it's true that there is only the fire rod left. This is pretty insane. 55 minutes in, and we're just missing a fire rod and an all dungeon seed.
Yeah, we've got a lot to go there. We've got another, let's see, 9 regular dungeons, or 8 for BigDunka, and plus Aga 1 to do. And yeah, once we find that fire rod, we won't be in go mode, but we will be in no mode, in that we, as the audience, know where everything is. All right, so BigDunka is following inside Andy's footsteps, and we'll be checking out the Light Death Mountain. But Andy is exploring new territory, going where no pug has gone before, into the swamp. And he goes splash in the puddles. It's a lot of fun.
So I believe it was Andy who saw the Swamp Palace big chest hint and knows not to open it.
Yeah, I don't believe we've seen the big key for it yet, so it might rat itself just in, or it might not. Still have the left side to find.
A big key was first chest.
Oh, well, there you go then. So it's only like a half-second lost time there, but even so.
So deciding to go front side first. It's interesting because he's found a dungeon map. He knows that, and he knows what's in the big chest. He knows that the left side has at least one. So you might go front side first. Well, I guess he's only looking for one. He's only looking for the fire rod. So his hope is he finds the fire rod back here and doesn't have to go left side.
Numbers say that's more likely there, but not by much. I think there's only one more chest left to find in here. And that chest only's got 20 bucks on it there, so he's gonna have to go back to the swamp, or back to the left side of the swamp, to find what other goodies are in store here. Thankfully, we don't need that fire rod to take down Argus, which is what we are heading up to momentarily. I suppose technically Andy is looking for other progression items that he doesn't have yet, as chat points out. He doesn't know where the bow is and doesn't know where the Cane of Samaria is. But as far as we are concerned, we are still looking for just the fire rod.
Yeah, I'm dumb. I'm lost in my own commentary world over here.
All right, the puffs go down, and Argus is going to be flying up. And let's see, we can take him down with a few ice rod shots and a big swipe. So down goes Argus. So that's boss number 3 for Andy, tying the game back up.
That was a very impressive technique that he did there with the Master Sword and those puffballs. You kind of poke dash, kind of hook dash. It's a difficult technique when you do it with Tempered Sword, and it can lead to a zero cycle Argus. But when you do it with Master Sword, it's like twice as difficult, basically. You have twice the number of input.
Pretty much, yeah. So, all right. So with Andy having taken down Swamp Palace, where does he go from here, do you think?
Well, Pod and Eastern would be a good play for him. We know he's going to get that bow there. And he's not going to get the bow before he goes there, which is maybe what he's hoping. But looks like he's heading for Ice Palace.
Well, he's checking out Hobo. He could head up towards Zora area as well if he feels like it there, but Ice Palace is right there. He may end up doing that first. All right. Meanwhile, BigDunka is back inside a light Kakariko. Let's see where he would be going. He hasn't done hair and he hasn't done swamp and doesn't have the items to do so. Now, where would he go in? Oh, he's doing Dismiss Chain. This is going to be big for him. This will get him the flute, which will give a lot of extra progress and just sheer mobility.
Yeah, I'm trying to recall. For some reason, I'm blanking on where Andy found the hook. But that's the real thing that BigDunka needs. It's bottlenecking a lot of his progress here. If he can find that hook shot, then that'll lead to Death Mountain, which will lead to Flippers, and which will lead to Boots, and then he'll be, also a fire rod away from go. Okay, hook shot was in Mire Shed. Okay. Thank you, chat.
All right, well, Andy's gotten his Cane of Samaria. He is one step closer, whereas BigDunka is now fake powdering the bad. He's not going to find anything in here of interest, but it's another check out of the way, and a good thing to do if you don't have that magic powder from the hammer pegs.
It's a little bit funny that he's just about to get the powder after doing fake powder here.
Hey, guess what you could do if you had magic? Too bad you already spent it, huh?
All right, Andy now maybe heading to Ice Palace this time. Now he's got his cane. He's just a bow behind from what we know so far, progressive items. BigDunka has a bit more to catch up with that hookshot chain of events.
Pretty much. So let's see. Do you think anything interesting is in Ice Palace today? We still have that. We know where all the medallions are. We could find the fire rod, and we could find the a bug net in 2 bottles. But other than that, if it's not one of those things, it's just consumables.
Oh yeah, chat pointing out that Andy didn't mirror to Catfish while he was over there, or if he did, I missed it.
I don't think he did. So,
So that location's now isolated for both of our runners, and for all we know, Fire Rod could.
And of course, if it's the one thing you isolate there, it's the one place it's gonna be.
Yeah, this is the real benefit of this Smith chain for BigDunka. The flute could be nominally helpful if he ever decides to go back to CAC to activate it. At this point, it might not actually save him time, but it's going to put him in the same overworld area where he needs to get his hookshot, which is maybe the bigger thing. So hopefully he takes that and runs.
Oh, Andy finds a hint that the only cache is in the left side of Swamp. So, did he go back and check out the left side when he finished up Swamp Palace?
No, he got to avoid it all, so we'll see. If BigDunka comes to Ice Palace before Swamp, he might get to avoid it as well. BigDunka almost forgetting to drop off the purple chest first.
But it's so nice and pretty, and it goes well with my boots, or his tentacles in this case.
Yeah, he's gonna need more than just that one boot you get when you pick it up. But apparently, one is enough for Andy to hover over the Ice Palace bomb jump.
Oh, that's always nice when you can do that there. Hovering is almost like a multiple frame perfect glitch, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, it's 1 frame, and then I think it's 30 frames. So basically, you have to charge up a dash, and before the dash can finish charging, which I think is a 30 frame duration, you have to release it and then move forward for a single frame, and then start charging a dash again to catch yourself before. And you have to do that, like, you know, obviously several times a second.
It's a hard glitch to pull off there, but it is definitely worth it for those who can actually do it. Piece of Heart is locked in Misery Mire. That is not terribly helpful for us right now. BigDunka does pick up his hook shot from the Misery Mire shed. So now they are starting to converge back together on what they have and what they don't have. BigDunka still has that bow and has completed Palace Darkness and Eastern Palace, where Andy has not even touched either one yet. Alright, BigDunka is heading up towards Paradox Cave. Andy is finishing up his Ice Palace clear, going to be heading, cleaning up a few last locations and heading on to Cold Stair himself, or itself, or whatever it is.
Yeah, BigDunka catching up here with the East Side Death Mountain clear, which we know is good for them. They're going to get progression that they need. Flippers, boots, Ice Rod.
Yeah, we do need that Ice Rod there, because as this is all Dungeon Seed, we are going to need to take down Trinex, whether we like it or not. Alright, Ice Tea Room just has another key, so I believe the last time that we are going to need... I think we saw the compass. Have we seen the map yet? Is there a last item on a Cold Stair? I mean, regardless, we're going to be taking them down, so we're going to find out sooner or later. But it's good to know where things are if we can end up skipping things.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but considering Andy still seems like he's opening chests, there must be one item left.
Yep, there is the map, so whatever's left has to be on the big stair himself. Cold Stair, the Master of the Glare, the Icy Look. How do you like some bombos and fire and things, explosions? Apparently he likes it a lot because he splits into 3 to look at it better. Oh, some good corner hits off the bat with that hammer. As we mentioned earlier, the hammer is the only way that we can really easily do tempered sword damage to anything in general. So, yeah, but it has that such short range, so that's a bit dangerous, especially with only on 6 hearts, as this is expert mode and we are limited in towards what health we have.
Yeah, he's doing a really great job here, getting these puffs down. The hammer fight can be really difficult, but yeah, does it beautifully.
Alright, Cold Stair himself just has 300 bucks on them. Not that we really need money for much anymore, but that's another boss down. That brings Andy up 4-3.
Yeah, I would say that Andy does have a bit of a advantage here now. We still don't know where the fire rod is, so there could still be a question mark, but having done another dungeon, BigDunka's still catching up with some of the progressive items, and looks like he's heading straight for where the bow is.
Alright, it's gonna set up that mirror location so he can just pop back over here at his leisure. Go pick up the monkey, get up to some monkey business, and then he's will be finding his bow pretty shortly. But as you mentioned, we still do not know where that fire rod for our go mode is, given that our progression items are now getting closer and closer in sync. Now our pendant dungeons are Eastern Palace, Tower of Hera, and Thieves Town here. There is, correct me if I'm wrong, which is entirely possible, but is there still hope that we have a pedestal seat on our hands here?
Could be.
I mean, sadly, with this being all dungeons, pedestal is just a one-off location at this point. But it's still pretty nice to see something interesting beyond there, regardless of what kind of seed it is.
I just want to point out a bit of interesting tech. Excuse me for keep pointing out things that are a little bit behind. I'm having to commentate off of the live stream, but you saw Andy kind of walk through his mirror portal there without actually mirror bonking back into the light world. Oh my god. With the hover rail clip.
That is pretty swag. I can't deny that. And I was like, yeah, I don't feel like going around the long way. I'm just gonna defy the laws of gravity.
Yeah, that's probably one of the hardest hovers we're gonna see him do, especially now that he has the Cane of Samari. I don't think that there's another harder hover than that that he has left. But what I was saying is you don't actually walk into a mirror portal if you are holding an item above your head. So you could drop down a Samaria block or pick up a bomb or freeze an enemy and hold it above you. You could do anything, right? And just walk through the portal to not.
Apparently portals have height restrictions. Good to know.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe weight restrictions.
No, I'm sorry. You're too fat to go through this portal. This dimensional lifting is just way too much. You're gonna have to drop some stuff off before you go through this portal.
Yeah, for safety reasons. For safety reasons entirely. You don't want it to be like that one episode of Star Trek Next Generation where they like duplicated Commander Riker. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Okay, BigDunka going into the Moldorm fight. So Tempered Spins will do, Master Sword Spins will do Temper Sword damage, so he can avoid the fast phase 3 by doing the spins, just like he gets down very well.
Alright, but it looks like Andy's heading to that dark room here. He's gonna find his bow of shootiness. Why I called it that, I will never know. Anyhow, so but onward we go, and there's the big key, and the bow is in the bottom left one here. So that we still do not know where that fire rod is, and we've got ourselves retracing each other's steps at the moment, so there's only a few places it can really even be at this point there. We have the right side of Desert Palace to look into, as well as the big chest. We've got all of Misery Mire that we have not even touched yet, and I guess the remainder of Turtle Rock that it could be as well.
So BigDunka taking a death here on Laser Bridge. It can be really difficult. Most people learn laser skips with the boots. If you don't have the boots, there are a number of different techs that you can use. I think he's forgetting that Cane of Burna does not apply invincibility to laser eyes. Is that true? I'm actually not positive, or maybe he turned off the Cane of Burna too quickly. Oh no, it does apply invisibility. I'm just wrong. And it doesn't drain magic faster either. Today I learned.
I believe that applies in cases where the old logic can't apply it or require it.
So
But
Big
yeah,
Dunka.
it's. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to call out that BigDunka is going the slightly longer way to go backwards through this dungeon in order to pick up some extra health. And there was a key door here, but when you're walking backwards through a door, you don't need a key to open it.
There's a joke somewhere in here about being intangible by walking backwards, but I can't find it right now. So I'm gonna have to think about stew on that one a little bit more.
I mean, that's pretty much how the laser eyes work, right? I would make a Doctor Who reference, but I've already made a Star Trek reference, and I think that would raise our nerd levels way too high, so I won't do that to you. So yeah, Dunka's coming back.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah, we don't want any nerdification overloads.
Yeah, it's not like we're playing Link to the Past Randomizer. Dunka's coming back into the dungeon halfway. It's very common clear. You go laser bridge, then you come to the middle point. So he should be getting his boots shortly here. And Andy with a very nice hammer helma. Again, a difficult strat to pull off, but it is a very common NMG speed strat with pretty much this exact loadout. Like, it might even be the exact same number of hearts, too.
Quite possibly, yes.
Yeah, it is. It's same number of hearts as you'd have in NMG. This exact same fight. Andy, of course, being a really good NMG runner, so that fight must have felt like home to him.
So yeah, 6 hearts, Helmut Sword King, hammer strats. It's just simple, easy as pie.
He might have even taken a bathroom break at that time and just taken his wireless controller with him. And BigDunka now with the ability to go fast. The speedrun can begin for BigDunka.
It's to go backwards through another key door. Wait! I've got it. It's like the potion glitch there. If the door can't see you, you don't exist.
So BigDunka checking his chest that Andy isolated before. If this is Fire Rod or if it's in the front half of this dungeon, this could be a hope for BigDunka to come back here, because Andy is about to get 6 dungeons completed over BigDunka's. Playing it safe with the chain chomps, doesn't want to pull an Andy here.
Oh, but he gets ping-ponged by a pokey.
Oh no, another major challenge. I think he is thinking about the small key he'll need to get to Trinex, which is why he went to kill the pokey. But one of the chests in the front, at least one, if not all 3? Wait a minute, I've lost count here of dungeon items, but he should have more keys than just one right now, right?
There wasn't one on Laser Bridge as far as I can remember. I've lost count of them. I'm sorry.
He might not have killed the pokey on the way to the vanilla big key chest, but I think he was thinking I might need this small key in order to get to Trinex, which is why he went for the pokey kill. But it can be very dangerous, especially when you have 2.
Yeah, just with 2 hearts there, a randomly bouncing around pokey can and will knock you out, as we have just demonstrated.
Yeah, unfortunate, because if the Fire Rod is in that one chest in the front of Turtle Rock, then we're missing out. BigDunka could go back and just open up the top of Turtle Rock like you would in the normal game, but it looks like he's going to cut his losses and move on elsewhere.
Yeah, the odds are not in his favor, or not in the favor of something being inside of Turtle Rock, which, according to the laws of dramatics, something has to be there now.
I think he's coming back to check Bonk Rocks and King's Tomb. He just got the boots. It's a great idea. And looks like he might be doing a ped check as well.
We have all 3 pendants, but now here comes the fun part. Are we going to do it blind? Oh no, no fun there. We just have some armor on the pedestal today. No fun.
Oh, sad day. I mean, you might need a change of clothes after an encounter with a Pokey like that. But not today.
Nope, not today. Andy does finish off the Armor's Knights there, so that is the Palace of Darkness, Eastern Palace flip-flop completed for him. So that will now put him up 6 dungeons to 4. Dunka is now activating his flute. Yeah, Dunka still has to do both Ice and Swamp Palace, both lengthy dungeons in and of themselves. But unfortunately, no progression in them today that that we have found. So if there's progression, it's going to either have to be in that first half of Turtle Rock or in Misery Mire. Or perhaps in the right side of Desert Palace, but that's sort of taking the long bet there.
All right, I'm not sure if we saw Andy check King's Tomb, so this might be a new check here from Big.
I don't recall seeing it there, but I could be crazy. Who knows? So inside this chest today that we find 300 rupees.
Not what we wanted.
Well, onward we go then. So let's see here. Looks like BigDunka is heading towards... I'm not sure where he's heading right now. We haven't checked Catfish yet, have we?
Oh, or the Mushroom. Both of those have not been checked, I believe.
You're correct here. So, alright, let's see what the witch is cooking up today. Inside her pot of magic here we have today... Well, as soon as you get an empty bottle to buy it, we've got some bombs. And we're not even going to pick them up there, because we've got enough explosions already.
That's right, but he's gonna refill on blue potions, and you might need the extra individual heart at some point, but really I think the magic is the best part of a blue potion in the expert run. It only refills a quarter of your magic bar, but that can be all you need sometimes, like on a Ganon fight or something.
Yeah, it's gonna cost you, but it's definitely it can definitely worth it if you don't have anything. But we get to look at Catfish right now. Today he has in his maw just $5. Here, like, take this and go home. But meanwhile, Andy's clued in on the fact that he hasn't checked out the pyramid or the pyramid fairy. The pyramid just has $5 in it there, but we have gotten both of the 5-6 crystals. So inside the pyramid fairy's room here, we've got another 20 rupees and the fire rod.
Oh, that is go for Andy. Which means
that is
BigDunka
indeed go.
Still has to finish Swamp Palace before he can go and get his fire rod as well. Which means no go mode Swamp Palace for him, and may end up clearing left side if he doesn't go Ice Palace first.
That would add a couple minutes to his time for there. So we've already checked out most of what we can in Desert Palace, but now we can skip that that right side of a Desert Palace. We know that nothing's interesting is in there. As soon as we find the big key in Misery Mire, we can just quit our searching and keep going straight towards the big eyeball monster. And the rest of Turtle Rock is not important.
A little bit of a sink here in the Desert Palace. BigDunka getting that hint though, so he knows not to open up the big chest now when he gets there.
That is correct. We still need that big key. So we do still need to go into this right side of Desert Palace, but Andy does not need to check this one room that only has the compass.
Probably the best thing for BigDunka right now is if he can get a hint about what's in the Pyramid Fairy, because there is a hint that is much more probable than most hints. They're called like troll location hints or something. that talks about the Pyramid Fairy. If he can find that hint, like say in Misery Mire, he might be able to go mode Swamp and Ice.
If he's lucky, he'll be able to find that, but we're not guaranteed that the troll location hint will be a troll location that is useful today, even.
Yeah, well, there's 5 of them that are picked from a number of 10 that are seated in the pool. So he's got like a 50-50 chance that there is a Pyramid Fairy hint out there somewhere.
Well, one can only hope, because as of right now, he's sitting down 2 dungeons, and lengthy dungeons at that, where Andy's already in go mode. However, yeah, it's going to be a long road ahead of him, but stranger things have happened. This is expert mode. We are still only sitting on 6 hearts right now. We know where our 7th is, but there's still another 8 heart pieces out there or more to, well, possibly less, to get to our full heart capacity.
Yeah, I imagine that Andy's going to skip chests, maybe not looking for the heart piece, unless he's close to his 4th piece. But yeah, health can be very nice. Andy, very experienced, a one-hit KO speedrunner, which I think is what he was banking on when he selected this mode, is that it might come down to OHKO strats that he's from.
Yeah, he definitely would be more familiar with them. Looks like BigDunka is using the Ice Rod strats on the land moles as well, just pretty much as effective. Not as fast of a kill, though. So that's a few seconds lost here and there. But Andy's going directly towards Misery Mire now. Also a nice routing option to be able to throw in there. We know that nothing of progression-wise is in here, so if BigDunka decides to go to Mire while he's already in the area, he's going to have to be spending a bit more time in here than Andy is, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think best case scenario, BigDunka finds the hint about Pyramid Fairy in Misery Mire. Even that scenario, though, he would have to play catch-up on 2 more dungeons.
Yeah, that is correct. And look, yep, BigDunka is going into Mire, so we're going to be synced up for a little bit. So we'll see how much of a lead Andy will be able to gain on him, and just in terms of efficiency of being able to go mode this dungeon rather than having to full clear it like BigDunka is probably going to be doing here. It all depends on where that big key is there. As soon as we find it, Andy can strip directly towards the back. Doesn't even need to go any here. Do we have the Godmire today inside the chest here? No, we've just got a map. Onward we go through the dungeon.
Andy using some very beautiful NMG strats to one-cycle the Wizard Room. We'll see how BigDunka does. A difficult strat to be able to one-cycle that Wizard Room. I think Andy, as lead right now, can be chalked up to a bunch of things. One is just routing that happened to be really fortunate and that led to really great efficiency, getting that mirror early, having the boots a bit earlier. But also small things like, just the rooms. I mean, this is why Andy finished first in his group, and why he's taken a couple of different titles in previous tournaments is really small execution things that only seem like, parts of a second or an entire second can really add up very quickly to account for whole minutes of difference in a speedrun that goes on for 2.5 hours or 2 hours.
Oh yes, easily. It's definitely the case there. You don't think that these little things matter, but the little things always matter. It just doesn't seem like it sometimes.
And I got to be fair to, I'm not trying to slam on BigDunka for not getting a one cycle. The NMG strat involves using the Fire Rod, which BigDunka doesn't have. There are other one cycle Wizrobe Room strats, but you have to be a little bit obsessed to practice weird strats like that. Takes a death on that anti-fairy. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it doesn't gets hit by the anti-fairy and now has anti-life. But Andy's right now on the and the name is slipping me for Vitreous. There we go. For some reason, I couldn't remember the name of this silly boss with the giant eyeballs because we have so many bosses here that have giant eyeballs for no good reason. But hey.
So Andy going for Master Sword spins. This is a fight that he might be familiar with if he's run a lot of low percent NMG. Deboosting kind of like you would on an NMG run on the goo here, and then cleaning up with arrows. It's a pretty cool fight.
Yeah, gets through with minimal damage. And is got his crystal now. So we've got to have we finished up Misery Mire. We have Skullwoods to go, and a small cleanup at Turtle Rock. There, we can go directly to Lazy Ridge and go directly to Trinex from there.
Looks like BigDunka is not going down to the drop-down chest, which makes sense. If you're trying to go fast, you sometimes want to avoid that. But that's where a hint would be. So if there is a Pyramid Fairy hint in this dungeon, that's where it's going to be.
Yeah, the Pyramid Fairy is just so out there. You have to complete 2 specific dungeons to be able to access it in the first place there. It's something you don't really even see all that often, period.
Yeah, and in this particular case, like, it wouldn't be that bad. I mean, he's going to go to Swamp eventually anyway. It's a crystal dungeon, or it's a dungeon he can full clear. So he's going to get that, 5-6 crystal, and then eventually he's going to be led into the Pyramid Fairy. But he really kind of needs a hint so that he can go mode those 2 dungeons in order to play a bit of catch up. So Andy didn't go mode those 2 dungeons, but BigDunka kind of needs to at this point.
Yeah, it's going to be a long way back for him to pull off the comeback, but it's still conceivably possible at this point.
So I didn't see if BigDunka got both of the items here already. He might be gambling that Vitreous has the other item, but that might be a little unfortunate if there is a hint that's useful on the drop down.
Alright, meanwhile, Andy's taking on Mothula right now. It's a bit of a tricky fight there because these moving floor will continue messing with your movement. But yeah, without even taking a hit, Andy takes down the big bug. And gets $5 for his extermination efforts. Alright, so Skullwood is off the list there. We just have the short Turtle Rock to do, and thankfully, we can actually do the easy route of going straight from Aga 2, which will put you on top of the pyramid, and then you can just mirror over to Aga 1, do that, get the full heal off of Aga 1, and go straight into Ganon from there.
Yeah, that'll be a pretty sweet route. Yeah, if he does Aga 1 before Ganon's tower, then he'll have a full heal before the tower. Which, I mean, he will be up here after Turtle Rock. Going to Aga Tower would be a good... BigDunka now on the Vitreous fight, using similar kind of strat here. Master Sword spins with bow cleanup, arrow cleanup.
Well, it gets through it just fine. It gets his key that he doesn't need. So that will put him at, let's see here, that makes 6 dungeons that he has cleared. But Andy's on his last one right now, going directly to Trinex, not skipping, doesn't pass go, doesn't collect $200, but it's going to be taking down a 2-headed monster fairly shortly. 3-headed monster.
I love that Samaria dash. Like, it's so cool. Another NMG strat. So interesting to see what strats he uses here. Again, like a low percent Trinex fight, you might see backdoor.
Pretty much, but it looks like we're just going for front and face hammer strats. And yep, first the fire head, then the ice head. Going with a little bit of dash attacks here, and then pulling out the hammer and giving him quite the headache. Alright, looks like BigDunka is actually going to check out the Firelock section after all, after finishing up Vitreous. Maybe we will see this hint after all.
So Andy getting the 3-cycle phase 1 Trinex is pretty dang good with Master Sword, hammer. The best possible fight you can get is a 1-cycle, but you need very good RNG and execution in order to pull that off.
Does that require enhanced weaponry as well in form of tempered or better?
No, I'm talking about
with
with
the
the
hammer
hammer
Master
fight.
Sword.
With
the hammer
the
fight,
hammer
right.
fight, yeah, specifically.
Well, that does put all the major dungeons cleared aside from Aga 1 there, so it's off to the tower. Which tower to see which one we decide to go for first there. As we can see, Ganon's left his front door unlocked. This glowy bit is just his Christmas lights decoration. Nothing to see in here. This is just leads to what is normally Castle Tower.
So people trying to get in their GT guessing numbers, we haven't started the game quite yet, so I would reserve your numbers until we've actually started the game. We're going to wait until Andy finishes Aga Tower since he's decided to route that in first. And we'll probably start that fight like early on in the Aga fight, or we'll start the game early on in the Aga fight because it'll be blindingly fast from the end of that fight to the start of G Tower.
Pretty much, it just puts you right at the doorstep from there. I mean, I guess we could use these numbers for how many blue balls we were going to get there, but 23 blue balls, not very likely.
Yeah, I think not even possible unless Andy misses some red balls, which I don't think he will. So BigDunka is setting up for the for the Swamp Palace, which is good. That'll give him his 5/6.
The real question is, will he remember that Pyramid Fairy, and will he check it, or is he going to continue checking around the overworld or in other dungeons right now? He's still got plenty to go.
Yeah, I don't think he has much overworld locations left, but the dungeons are the big thing that scares me in particular. It would be so easy to think, well, I can full clear ice, let's go. But on the other hand, he could be thinking, I want to go mode ice, let's hope Fire Rod is in Pyramid Fairy. And this would be a great time to check it.
Yeah.
You've got a Light World portal, you're in the area.
Well, we'll just have to hope he has that Pyramid Fairy on his mind after he finishes this dungeon. But still a good ways to go for it as well. Meanwhile, Andy is watching Agadim do a magic trick. Hey, you want to see me make this girl disappear?
And with that, we're going to start the big key guessing game because we have only so much time before he's going to walk in that door after this fight is finished. And I'm behind on the restream here, Phantom, so I'll let you stop it, if you don't mind.
Can do that. As soon as we enter the door, that'll be fine. All right, so this fight's going pretty smoothly. There's not really much interesting to do on the Aga 1 fight there. It's whether you just position yourself, reflect his shots, and there we go.
So yeah, I wasn't counting blue balls, but that must have been pretty low.
All right, we are now into Ganon's Tower here. We've got a key to start out with and a piece of heart. Interesting there. So, yeah, looks like we're going with the standard first two right, and then the rest left. Although full right has been been popular recently.
Yeah, this is he could be doing a rando room rush, which is where you go left side until you get to rando room and then pop back over on the right. But yeah, the main line, I would call it the main line, is very popular, but is also statistically much more likely to pay off than most other routes. There are certain scenarios where you might want to do other routes, but I'm not going to get into the statistics because we'll be here all day.
Yeah. All right, let's see. That's 7 chests with nothing in them of use. Let's head on over to the fireball room, seeing what's on our good warm chest here today. All right, chest number 8 has the map, so no big key yet. All right, so got a good hook shot to avoid the damage there. Let's see, Fire Snake room here. We've got the big key. Let's see, that is number 9, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yep, that's what my mental count just told me.
All right, looks like our winner today is McLagan.
And now Andy just has a gauntlet / Ganon to get through. But again, as an experienced one-hit KO runner, I don't think we can expect to see him take a death here. He might even still have some potions left, which, again, are not going to refill his hearts, but do give him 1 safety heart each.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, every heart counts there. One other minor thing about expert mode there is that the items dropped from enemies, the chance of them dropping something at all has been reduced from down to 25%, down from 50% in hard mode.
Yeah, I think it's also vanilla for it to be 50% drop rate. So normal mode would have 50%. But yeah, it's much less likely you're gonna find a drop, which is what makes stun drop a potentially interesting thing, because it's guaranteed drop. But you know, good luck finding a way to stun an enemy in expert mode.
Pretty much can't even stun things with the hookshot anymore. So other than those niche case things of like Quake or bombs, then yeah, no stuns for you.
Yeah, this is what I was worried about here with BigDunka. It makes sense, gonna check the left side, you know, you're looking for this one item. For him, actually, it might have been a really good scenario if it ended up being over here, since Andy isolated it. But unfortunately, that's just gonna delay him getting his Fire Rod and ability to go mode things.
Yeah, sometimes rando just randos you, so... But yeah, Andy is on Land Molus too. Doesn't get the 1 cycle there, but just needs 1 more hit on the Land Molus. But it is playing coy and is refusing to get hit. But down it goes. Just has enough magic to finish it off, so we continue our climb. I suppose push comes to shove, we could just sword it down there, but where's the fun in that? Am I right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, BigDunka finding out cash on left side. Feels bad, man. Let's hope that he goes Pyramid Fairy next.
Well, he's heading in the right direction. We'll see if he goes to Link's house. Well, what's normally Link's house was now the bomb shop in this inverted mode. Yes, we are going in. We are picking up some explosions. Big explosions.
Yeah, this is really good for BigDunka. Andy didn't get to go mode Ice Palace, so it's really nice for Dunka that he gets. But yeah, he still needs to clear 5 more dungeons in order to be at where Andy is currently, and then of course find the big key and make his way up.
Yeah, it might be too little too late at this point. Most likely is, judging by how things are looking. But
yeah,
he has his fire rod. He is now in go mode.
Yeah, at least he doesn't have to do the torturous full clear of Ice Palace, only to find out it wasn't free, so that's good.
All right, Andy hovers the Moldorm 2 gap as we were expecting there. Just nopes on out of there. Interesting sound glitch. It looks like a hard hat, or well, a Helmosaur was trapped against the bumper.
Oh, what are they called? I think you think you had it right, mini Helma.
I wanted to call it a hard hat beetle for a second there. I was like, wait, no, you can see its face. It's not a hard hat beetle.
Yeah, they have a hard. I mean, they have a hard shell hat. Thanks, Reggie. All these confusing names. Swamp of Evil, Swamp Palace. Who made this game?
All right, but we have a good, fast Agate 2 there. So, right, that is the end of Agate 2. So, we have only got one thing left to go.
Yeah, nice 4-cycle. So now we're on to the Master Sword Ganon fight, which is one of my favorite fights in the whole.
Oh, yeah?
It's more fun when you don't have the silver arrows, but I just think it's a really awesome, it can be an awesome, impressive show of skill. So it'll take 12 Master Sword spins, of course, to get through both phases 1 and 2 for each phase. You can't damage them at all with the Master Sword Slash, but Master Sword spins do Tempered Sword damage. Or I'm sorry, did I say 12? It's not 12. It is 12. I'm a liar.
But why would you do that? Ganon just wants to hold a parade there. It'll have clowns and balloons and everything.
That was a really interesting pattern for him there on that second cycle, second cycle of that first phase. He did a glitched pattern where he's facing down, but Andy took advantage of it and got a double. That was quick.
Ooh, takes a hit from that fire bat there. It's just down to 1 heart, but has gotten some good hit licks in on Ganon right now, so shouldn't be too much longer before we move into phase 3 if we can just dodge these last few fire bats.
Phase 2 is definitely the longest and hardest part of the Master Sword Ganon fight, if you have silver arrows.
Alright, looks like we're moving into phase 3 there. Ganon's not wanting to stay still, but we still get our hit on him there. We're bringing down the house.
BigDunka on a very scary moth fight and takes a death.
Ooh, that's unfortunate there. I mean, and with little magic to be able to refill off of that. Well, we get a little bit, but there's yeah, we're gonna have to go into this with 4 hearts and about like a third magic. But meanwhile, Andy's on phase 4 already. Has gotten 1 or 2 arrows into Ganon right now. Oh, and gets the last 4 in the dark. Or the last 2 in the dark.
Nice, very well done.
Alright, so get your GGs in chat there. We've got Andy as our winner for game 1 of the match between Andy and BigDunka.
Finishes with official SRL time of 1:49.03. That's a pretty impressive time for an all dungeons, not to mention that this was like expert inverted. So BigDunka coming back for the Moth refight now with full health and half a magic bar.
Yeah, this up. Yeah, it looks like we have going through the moth fight here. And we will see if we can get Andy into chat as soon as we can, just to see if he's will be available for an interview.
I like these Master Sword spin strats. It adds a little bit of the lag to the game, so you can react a little bit better, and then of course does Tempered Sword. And yep, looks like BigDunka did forfeit from the race.
Yeah, with 3 full dungeons and both AGA 1 and AGA 2 left to do there. It's unfortunate, but I can see why one would do that.
Yeah, totally. But good games to both of them for sure.
Alright, let's see here.
Yeah, again, like just summarizing what I think happened in the game and led to these leads. Definitely having early mirror. Routing wise, Andy had some very fortunate routing. Really paid off. That gave him that early mirror, led to some increased routing efficiency. And then I would say, other than that, it was maybe just very small execution advantages that Andy had in like certain rooms that might have come from his NMG background or whatever.
Yeah, I definitely would agree there. That early mirror in the escape there was just a good find that set the tone for the entire race there. BigDunka did find that early bow in Kana Samaria, but those did not lead to any other major items, and it just snowballed from there on out.
Yeah, there were definitely a couple of ways that Dunka could have made back up that time if that cane had led to somewhere, like for instance in Turtle Rock where Andy isolated that item, how he isolated left side swamp. There were so many opportunities, but it just didn't happen. The randomizer gods were not in Dunka's favor here for to give him a chance to catch back up with that missing out on that early mirror.
All right, we're working on getting Andy into our call for a interview. So just hold hang tight. We're going to be on that pretty shortly, and see if we can get BigDunka in here as well, if he so desires. But meanwhile, while we're waiting for them to get in here, this is only just game 1 of the series there. Game 2 will be a seed of BigDunka's choosing, and if we need to, game 3 will be a randomized seed there, I believe. The sets were reduced from best of 5 down to best of 3 after an interview with all the runners. So that's will make things a little bit more expedient for everyone involved. So we will be on match point as of next seed, which let's see when that will be coming up. I believe that's tomorrow or the day after.
Yeah, it's tomorrow, same time, and it's going to be an open Uncle Assured normal key sanity, defeat Ganon goal. So BigDunka participated in the key sanity tournament. I know he's pretty familiar and confident with keys. So that's an interesting.
I'm fond of key sanity personally myself there, but that's just me. It just adds another level of strategy to where you're adding. So it makes things more interesting. Harder, but more interesting.
Yeah, it can definitely really screw you and be very trolly. But maybe BigDunka's hoping that'll work in his favor. He's in chat, so he can confirm or deny. Well, I'm not sure we're going to be able to find a way to invite them in on the auditory commentary personal interview session. So yeah, we can conduct like a short little interview via chat as well.
Well, we'll try and make that work best as we can. Let's see.
Yeah.
So I guess what I would ask first is like, what were your thoughts on the seed overall? Are there any interesting things that make it stand out versus other seeds or anything like that?
Andy forgetting Ice Palace. Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, it seemed like you isolated quite a few locations that ended up working out for you, and was just wondering about that. Yeah, BigDunka doing almost a full clear of the overworld. I think maybe an entire full clear with the Pyramid Fairy. Can't think of what else was. Was there anything in particular you were hoping for, BigDunka, that you thought like this is my last hope? If you felt behind.
Oh, but looks like we've got everyone in here. Remember, we've got BigDunka joining us in the call here. And here we have Andy here with us as well. GG to both of y'all.
GG.
GG, dude. Hey, we did it. You did it. We all did it.
We did the thing, or at least they did the thing. Either everyone's here all together. So, thoughts from both of y'all on the seed and how it went and what made you choose what decisions that you did.
Seed was pretty interesting. Getting hammer before going to the Village of Outcasts was nice. And then getting a sword in chess game was also nice, so Thieves Town wasn't, a worry at all. Straight to Light World. I still don't actually know how to route the Light World because it always feels messy, but I think I did it relatively well. The death to Lionel's on Death Mountain actually made me go get the hook shot before going back, which I thought was funny.
Oh, that's really interesting, because that gave you such early Light World East Death Mountain access compared to BigDunka.
Yeah, so when I died to Lionel the first time, I was like, let's go check Meyer. And I got the hook shot. I'm like, okay, going back to Death Mountain. Other than that, the only interesting decision that I made, I think, I skipped Left Side Swamp with 2 items because I was going to Ice Palace next, and I figured there was a pretty good shot that the hint for it was going to be there. And if it was something good, no harm, no foul. Lose a little bit of time, it's whatever. but it ended up just being cash from the hint in Ice Palace, which worked out pretty nicely. And then after Ice, I decided to do Pod and Eastern instead of Mire and Desert, which I could clear, because I don't like Mire without a bow at all. And it was just 2 items. So I would take the 9 to 11 items over 2 every time.
Specifically Vitreous, you don't like to have to do without a bow?
Oh, yeah. I mean, especially with Master Sword, Max Sword, you know, I had 6 hearts at the time. That Vitreous fight is not going to be fast. It's not going to be fun. I might die, you know.
Yeah, so you were talking in chat a bit, BigDunka, about like feeling like you had full cleared the overworld and that cost you time. Did you feel that way in the middle of the race too? Did you feel like you might be?
No, actually, it was kind of a strategic choice because I would have assumed that Andy was probably going to focus on dungeons. So I kind of felt like that was, in order to gain that advantage, I kind of needed to go overworld. It's just unfortunate that there was nothing in the overworld. So the only thing that was really out there was the mirror, and that was kind of, eventually get that mirror. But it took me a while to actually get back to Hyrule Castle, and I think that was a. Obviously, that's really going to slow down the routing choices. So, it was kind of it was one of those things that I wanted to go to maybe a few of the fringer spots just to try to hit something hard and kind of take it from there. But unfortunately, almost everything was in dungeons. At least everything was important one after like the first hour.
Yeah, I think that hookshot was in Myers Shed, and aside from that, most of all of the major items were in dungeons, I believe. There, Fire Rod ended up being in Pyramid Fairy, which was an interesting situation for a go mode item. Thankfully, as soon as both of you all finished Swamp, I believe that you went there straight away. Is that correct?
Well, I got the $25 from the left side.
Yeah,
I'm taking that home with me. No, it's actually interesting you mentioned that, because when we found Bombos and Flippers, and that opened up basically 4 different dungeons to clear, and I don't know if it was noticeable, but I immediately went to Mire before I went to Swamp and Ice in hopes to be able to go mode those. It's a low percentage play, but again, at that point, I felt needed to make a low percentage play and have it hit. So it's kind of the same theory with the overworld checks.
Yeah, I think we were talking about it on air there, but it seemed like one of the biggest differences in the race was that Andy, I believe that you decided to go to an early front side of Escape first and pick up that mirror, which led to the flute, and everything just kind of snowballed from there. What made do you like normally riding in Escape that early in your Light World inverted clear?
Yeah, I kind of consider it as like part of that early Light World check. I'll go into the front of Escape and hope to get a key in the front, so I can just go straight back. Shoots me out of the Sanctuary. I can go check Graveyard Ledge and then routing Kakariko from the top. And if it doesn't work out, I just do that, but I walk around the castle. So I don't like leaving it behind. It's 6 items, which is pretty significant. Along with the 2 uncle locations, so it's basically 8.
Yeah, it's 6 items in an early sphere as well. Especially this seed where you got Light World access so early, but then what we saw BigDunka do, I've also seen that as a very normal Light World route where you go up to Lost Woods, you do back of Escape, then you do other stuff like Kakariko before you kind of come back to Escape as the very last place.
Yeah, that all depends if you have what your Dark World access is. If you don't have the mitts, then I'll go north, and if I do have the mitts, I'll go south. Because it's just, you're going north anyway, because you have to use the hammer to get out of there, and you have to go up and around anyway. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's so interesting how just like you're so close to that screen transition, but it just changes everything about how you think about the routing.
Every little bit counts. Every second counts. We've had races tie and be within 2 seconds of each other, and that means that every decision is important.
So, any thoughts on tomorrow's match from either of you? Both?
And with that key buried so far where it's not going to be found, and I want the clue to be an Agate Tower.
It'll be fun. I enjoy Key Sanity a lot. Yeah, looking forward to just all of my Key Sanities in the group stage were all dungeons, so this will be a nice, refreshing. I don't need to find Agata or small keys, and
Well, hopefully not.
It'll be great.
Yeah, I love keys. Keys is the best. So yeah, it's one of those that it's a high risk, high reward type format because if you can get through a Key Sanity seed without stepping foot instead of a pendant dungeon, that's almost a miracle. So there's going to be some stuff that's going to be buried where you're not going to expect.
Yeah, and because your competitor is on the call with us, I'm not going to ask you to go too deep in your reasoning, but you did mention today this race that your strategy was kind of to clear the overworld, hoping that Andy might do dungeons and that you might get payoff that way. So I can see how you chose keys out of a similar kind of strategic decision there.
Yeah, except in this case, keys is my key route is set in stone for the most part. I'm really comfortable with the decision making when it comes to keys. So it's I think it's the format that I think I'm the most comfortable with still having a fairly medium to high amount of variance.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and normal, no hard, no expert. Keep that expert. Just normal. We're gonna find butter sword and silvers and mirror shield.
Well, I'm sure that y'all will be looking forward to that. There, were either of you really feeling the pinch on expert? I know that is a new addition to the bracket stage for this mode of the tournament. Did you feel like it affected much?
A little, but honestly, not really. There wasn't a lot going on here. I had a couple of deaths that probably you don't take otherwise, but it was pretty friendly seed with the early light world access and the early sword. So you don't feel that until you realize you have to, when you get to the end, you have to do Vidi with Master Sword and stuff.
Yeah, there's only a couple general problem areas. Vidi being one of them, just because no silver arrows guaranteed. You don't have enough arrow capacity to kill everything with arrows, so you kind of gotta manage that. Yeah, the seed was pretty nice. Got 4 or 5 hearts relatively early with the Master Sword. I was laughing at the dumb death I took in Hera. I just got bombarded in the petting zoo.
Nice. All right. So, any other final thoughts you'd like to add before we start wrapping things up?
No, look forward to tomorrow.
Yep, same here.
Thanks, everybody, as always.
And thank you for giving us such a good race that we could watch there. So yes, give both of our runners a follow, everyone, if you would be so kind there. They have been so kind as to provide this entertainment for us there. Thank you also to our trackers. I believe it was here. Let's see here. It was Burke249 who's been our tracker for today. And thank you to our restreamers as well. Next race in this set will be tomorrow. The same time at 7 o'clock Eastern time. Not sure if the channel's been decided on quite yet, but we're working on that. But that will pretty much do it as far as Rando goes for tonight.
Yeah, so there's no other match on tonight. It's just tomorrow's. There's a few races. There's the BigDunka versus Andy, the Key Sanity we mentioned. There's a doubleheader between Boyne and Elminster RTA. So we don't have any other matches currently on the schedule. We don't know which of them are going to be restreamed quite yet, or maybe all of them will be. But definitely tune in because all 3 of those matches I'm very excited for, and I'm personally sad I'm going to miss them all. But because I'm very excited about who's running them, and to see what happens here in this game 2 between BigDunka and Andy.
Well, that'll be do it for us tonight. There again, I have been Phantom Fox, and I've been joined by Quarren today. So thank you to you, Quarren.
Yeah, thanks. It's been great, and good night, everybody.
Good night, and catch us if you can next time.